You'll see the countdown.
I forgot that part. I forgot about the technology.
Right.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you, you're both married or soon to be married men. I'm a married man. Do you funny little texts, inappropriate perhaps texts with your wife, fiance throughout the day? Is it it's a regular thing?
Oh yeah, at least once a day.
Regular, yeah.
Okay, like
For sure.
inappropriate.
I got to step up my game. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's always inappropriate, but it's like, it's usually a lot of the times it has something to do with, because I mean, we're confined to the same place like 90% of the day, so most of it is like a commentary on things that had already happened, but it's not like that inappropriate, I would say.
Okay, all right. I'll just, here we go. So my wife this afternoon, Amanda, sends me on Facebook Messenger, a cute little meme. It reads, this, okay, I bet sucking your own dick feels more like sucking one than getting yours sucked.
It's very deep.
Right? This is some philosophical stuff going on while I'm hammering nails. I'll tell you, right?
Did that one stop you in your tracks or what?
It did. I really, because that one makes you think, man. That's some
Absolutely.
That's some Freudian shit going on. It gets better though. So I get home. Amanda has mistakenly on Messenger mass sent that to like pretty much everyone she knows, including people she's dealt with on like Facebook Marketplace.
Oh no!
Possibly my mother. We're waiting. There's no way to intercept this. There's no getting her back. It's out there.
Oh my God! What's the funniest one you've discovered so far?
You mean in terms of response?
No. Which one's the most embarrassing one it's been sent to?
I don't know. Well, I don't. It's her account,
yet.
Right? She was just telling me about this over dinner.
Unbelievable.
This is one little thing on Facebook Messenger, and it occupies a good 4 or 5 hours of your day, and it's not done yet. I'm waiting to hear from my mother.
Listening to Black Sheep Radio. Featuring Ben McVie.
One of my daughter's friends is trying to get in my back door.
Chris Brown. And Marc Lefebvre.
Well, on that note, I've recently eaten an entire box of Ferrero Rocher in one sitting. Like the entire plastic case.
Rate, review, subscribe, and share. Or join the conversation at BSR Podcast on Facebook and at radio_sheep on Instagram and Twitter. Here we go.
So anybody that keeps up on Black Sheep Radio knows that I played that intro last week, and I'm just trying to navigate all of these new technologies and stuff. And I have this app on my iPad, this really old iPad, and I have a button that says intro, and then I have a button that says right beside it new intro. And I pressed the button that said intro, and I didn't press the button to say new intro. So we'll have to save the next one for next week. But
I'm excited to know what that is now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. Can you imagine if that happened in baseball? Like where the hitter strikes out and he says, "Listen, I thought for sure he was going." If we got that explanation, that would be kind of it would slow the game down a little bit more, even.
More sure. Baseball can't be slower. It starts in 2 days, though. Opening day, 2 days away. My fantasy baseball draft is done. I'm ready to go. I've got my team name, which for anybody that does do any sort of fantasy sports, it really is the key to enjoying yourself in fantasy sports, is having a dynamic team name. And there's some clever bastards in my league, that's for sure. I have a guy on my team named Trevor Pham, Pham. So I went with Manson Family, and my logo, I actually found a baseball hat with a picture of Charles Manson's face on it. So there you go.
Nice.
Well played. Well,
sir.
Yeah. Do you watch the game on TV, Mark? Do you watch the game on TV? Like when opening day, will you be tuning in to watch opening day?
Yes, ideally I would. I actually have the worst cable, so I probably won't be able to see. I prefer baseball on the radio though. Like I like listening to the game on the radio. I like the way it's broadcast. It's just I find it's a great radio game. As weird as that may sound, like it's a great sit by the campfire. It's on in the background. You don't need to have full imagination on display like you would if you were listening to football or hockey on the radio, where it's so fast paced. Like baseball's just, it's good.
The greatest sports broadcasters in the world are radio baseball broadcasters.
They have to fill time.
It's legendary. So sorry, I don't mean to sidetrack this, but did you hear the Blue Jays? Speaking of this, the Blue Jays are no longer radio. They're not doing a separate radio broadcast.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They're doing. This is the first time this year they'll be just simulcasting the TV feed on the radio.
I first heard of stations doing that. I first heard of stations doing that when with the CFL when I was working for Bell. Bell was one of the first people to just like, oh, you know what? And it made sense kind of with the CFL to a certain degree. I mean, it doesn't, because you still like to have somebody in the building to feel the emotion, and it's a little bit different or whatever. But yeah, like I never thought they would have done baseball. Like Marc was saying, baseball's the purest of radio sports out there. It really is. It's the space, the crowd.
Tell me the story of this game.
Yeah.
So baseball wouldn't cut into your TV time, because I asked that because I wondered if it was like football season. It definitely takes over my TV. There's less of my appointment watching and all that sort of shit during football season.
Absolutely.
Not so much during hockey season. I got to tell you guys, this is the first time, because you've been busting my chops over the fact that I haven't gotten involved in the NHL season so far. So I've got something on the NHL, like a little bit later on.
Can't wait.
Yeah. All right.
Does it have anything to do with actually watching the game?
It has to do with a major record that you're probably unaware of, and it's friggin' brilliant. So anyway, sorry.
Oh, that's exciting. Cool. Well,
yeah.
I'm
speaking of
this.
TV,
I always get all jazzed up when we. Yeah. Speaking of television, when we do Mount Rushmores, like the. Whenever we do the Mount Rushmores of whatever, I'm always excited. And today we're going to do the Mount Rushmore of TV characters, which that's a broad definition. There are so many to choose from. There are so many eras, I think, of television, and I think that's why I'm super excited to hear what you guys who you guys are going to have on your list. And you and I, Benny, were talking about this earlier, that for every 4 on the Mount Rushmore, there's 12 that don't make it. So we'll try to honorable mention our way through a couple of those. But
am I the only person that, like,
I love these things.
When you do like a top? Does anybody else get hung up on this? Like, if I do a top 5, I'll get to 4, no problem. The 5th, the last one. If you do like a top 50, for Christ's sakes, 49, no problem. 50 suddenly becomes a problem because of who you're going to leave out, right? Yeah,
especially TV characters too, because some of these shows,
you're picking one but cutting 100.
Yeah, some of these shows have, like, you know, let's say, not to get too deep into it, but let's say like Seinfeld. All of those characters are up for grabs. Like, you could pick any of them, and
that's
you know,
true.
It's not just like, I don't know. It's not like musician or whatever. Like, it's easy to pick like a standout in a band or something like that, or whatever, a song or an album or whatever. I feel like it's a little bit more. There's so many more options with TV. It feels like, or at least it felt like.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I'm curious to see too if we have any overlap whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mark.
That's I mean, because. No, I was just going to say, I mean, you guys, we all probably watch different shows, because we've all been in that situation where someone says, "Hey, do you watch this?" And you're like, "No, I don't watch." Oh, you fucking! How can you not watch that? Well, because I'm watching 50 other shows right now and trying to stay caught up. So I love these because it's going to open up like, oh, really? I gotta check out that show. So
that's true too. Like, if you did this bit 30 years ago, think about how much more narrow the list would be among 50 people, as opposed to now, where the TV universe is so damn huge that, you know.
Absolutely.
So, okay, who's leading off? Are we just naming our four in a row?
Yeah,
You've
let's
got
get
one?
Mark.
You want to just name our 4 in a row? That's
No,
one way
no,
to do
no,
it. I
no,
like that.
no, no.
That
We'll
freaks
run
Chris
one at a
out.
time.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
All right.
I need time to
I'll
think.
kick it
Boys.
off.
I've got a list of like 9 people here. It's
for
gonna be
God's
hard.
sake.
I
Fair,
know.
fair.
I know. I had to have backups because there's
All right,
gonna be.
I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off with just because of just sheer longevity on television and a character that was only supposed to be in 3 episodes of a show and has now been in one of the most successful spin-offs of that show as well. I'm going to go with Frasier Crane is my first pick on the Mount Rushmore of TV characters. Kelsey Grammer, they're bringing it back again, and I mean, we talk about
They're what? No, whoa, pause.
Yeah, they're going to
time up.
They're going to be bringing it back. They're going to be bringing it back. It's supposed to be coming back for another
So exciting.
release. So we'll see what that's that's like. Obviously, the dad won't be in it because he passed away. But and you were saying Seinfeld, a show that has so many great characters just within that one show. Honorable mention goes to Niles on Frasier because he is phenomenal. He's, David Hyde Pierce is such a funny character. So, but yeah, Frasier Crane #1 for me.
Frasier's great. I never got into Frasier at all until relatively recently, which is really fun with this whole streaming generation. It gives you an opportunity to dive back in shows you've never seen before. I used to talk mad shit about Frasier. There's a lot of friends that I had that defended them, and I was a dick about it, so I apologize. It's a great show. It's amazing. Good pick. And he's a star of 2 shows. Unreal.
Well, I mean, even so far,
Yeah,
it's such
and
it's
his
such an
role
iconic.
His role on Cheers was so funny.
Yeah,
the role between him and Niles, David Hyde Pierce, by the way, even The Simpsons got into the act. They were brothers on the show as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Sideshow Bob too. So yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
Right.
More love for
Sideshow
Kelsey
Bob.
Grammer. Love it.
All right, Chris, you up or am I?
You can go, Ben.
Okay, I'm going to date myself with a couple of mine. So the number one, not necessarily like but this is one of the ones that I'm going to throw on a Mount Rushmore because I watched the show live, or I watched my grandparents watch the show live. So this has been around my whole life, this show, and it's Archie Bunker from All in the Family is going to be the first one going up on mine because it was such a revolutionary show and character, and it was so well done by Carol O'Connor. It was like, that was some tour de force shit. And again, Jean Stapleton as Edith, that's your David Hyde Pierce on that show. She's friggin' genius. But Archie Bunker goes for my number one. That show was just, it broke barriers, and it's one of those shows. And I'm being real careful not to pick favorite shows necessarily. But because All in the Family wouldn't make my Mount Rushmore of TV shows, but the character is what really made that show. So Archie Bunker, there's mine.
You know what I like about that pick? I was thinking about him. I had thought about Al Bundy as well in terms of that same type of character, and I mentioned that to my wife, and she's like, "Well, do you really want to have a fucking misogynistic pig on your Mount Rushmore?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess." So you'll notice that my other picks are more reflective of that. But if you think of the actual Mount Rushmore, I mean, not all of those guys were fucking saints either. So they were great presidents to me. They might not have all been saints. So, much like Archie Bunker, great character, certainly not a saint.
Oh, this isn't about the personality of the character. It's a landmark character.
Absolutely, groundbreaking for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
It's funny you said Al Bundy.
It's like we take a step back in time because a character like that could never come out in TV now. People would be like, "That's unacceptable," and yet that was the 1970s, and it was acceptable then, but it wasn't. It's very weird.
Well, my second character is a sociopathic murderer, so I can't wait to get to that.
Yes,
Chris,
there's Benny.
Chris, what do you got?
So again, like I said, my list is continuously growing as we're talking. I wrote Al Bundy down when you said Archie Bunker, just as a thing. No, I'm not going to say Al Bundy. I'm just saying I have great minds because I was thinking the exact same thing with Al Bundy. But my number one with a bullet can't go wrong for me is, Marc posted on Facebook, the ranker.com, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but the leading picture of it was Spock. So, iconic Star Trek, iconic series. For me, my number one, it has to be from the Next Generation. I'm going to go with Jean-Luc Picard.
Wow.
I honestly think that Jean-Luc Picard is one of the
captain.
greatest. Yeah, but I think he's one of the greatest like characters across like all mediums. Like I think what's really cool about that show is you always know he's going to figure it out. You always know he's going to come up with some like pragmatic solution where everybody wins, but he still finds a way to make it like drive the drama home, and he's always cool and collected. He's like a good role model. He's one of the first bald people to ever be on television, so respect for that. to lead a show at least. So I'm gonna go with Captain Picard for sure. He's the man.
Can I just do a quick shout out to a character on the Next Generation who I think is a fantastic character is Q. I think he is so interesting. Any episode he was on, they were always so deep and talked just about like the beginnings of mankind and stuff. And he was a really cool character in that as well. That little protagonist or antagonist.
All right. I got to be honest. Okay, so we're going to run into a few of these, I'm sure. I did not. I think I maybe seen in their entirety. I could probably count on both hands the number of episodes I've seen of Star Trek Next Generation, and shame on me because whenever I've seen it, I've been like, wow, this really is a good show.
Good.
But I never followed through on it. But I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
And yes, hats off, bald power, man. Bald power.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, number two, the second face, and I actually just added somebody, so that person may be making an appearance later. But I'll go with this because this is a lock for me. Homer Simpson, I think, is another bald dude. There you go. Makes the list. Dan Castellaneta, the voice of that. Again, longevity, and I understand that it's been like maybe a solid 15, maybe 20 years of not that great of episodes and of writing. But there is that pocket of like 8 or 9 seasons where he is brilliant. The writing is brilliant. It's so well done. I get that he's animated, and that may change people's opinion on whether or not what a character. Like what a groundbreaking, and again, like what are they on?
Absolutely.
Like season 30 something? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they just signed on for more. I think. Yeah.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They just signed up for like 2 or 3 more, I think.
Well, I'm glad somebody said
It's
Homer
like
Simpson.
Tom Brady of TV.
Exactly.
So, we're
More
allowed.
seasons.
We're allowed on our Mount Rushmore to like throw in cable too, right? Like we can go into the HBOs and the the AMCs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We can do that, right? Okay. So here's a show. I know I've mentioned this show before. I doubt you guys. I don't know. We've talked about it before, but I don't recall if either of you has seen it. It's The Wire.
I've watched it.
Okay. Omar Little is a character that you've got to check. If you've never seen The Wire, it's something like I geek out on this show really bad. I have it on in the background if I'm cooking. Like it's such a great. No, I'm serious. It's such a great show.
Believe it, yeah.
And
I have one like that too.
Oh, do you? Michael K. Williams is the guy who plays the role, and it's brilliant. It's again, it's sort of a groundbreaking. Well, I don't know if it's a groundbreaking character, but the performance is it's over the top good. It's great acting, and the show is fantastic. Yeah. So check out The Wire if you haven't.
I gotta watch it.
To talk about why this would be a groundbreaking character. I think to not describe who Omar is kind of doing him a little bit of a disservice. Like Omar in the show in The Wire.
So the show, within the show, sure, he plays. Okay, a very brief synopsis. The Wire. The Wire is about the Baltimore drug trade. It starts off as that. It's a lot more, but within that drug trade story, Omar plays what they call a stick-up boy. So he robs drug dealers. and he's also openly gay, which I know. And for the time that the show came out and everything, it's one of those groundbreaking sort of characters. Yeah. So
well, it's cool. What's cool is he's an openly gay character that everyone's terrified of because he's like the most badass character out of all of them, and he runs around the streets of Baltimore with a sawed-off shotgun, and all you hear is "Omar coming!" Everyone starts yelling, and everyone scatters. He's like the Terminator. It's unbelievable. It's so cool.
Mark, check out The Wire sometime if you have some spare time. Make sure you put the kids to bed, but it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, nice one. Who's up next? Is it me?
Yeah. You there, buddy. Yeah, it's you.
Okay. So, let's just continue the HBO train. I think somebody's going to say him. If it's not going to be me, we're going to go with Tony Soprano. It's very hard to pull off anything like mafia related in general without making it seem campy and unrelatable. And I think The Godfather probably did it. Obviously, The Godfather did it with Brando. And I think nobody had touched it since until the character of Tony Soprano. As far as, I don't know, have you guys watched The Sopranos? Are you guys all caught up on it and everything?
I've honestly never watched even one episode of it.
So,
are you? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. There's my next generation, right? So it's great. It's really great.
So Tony Soprano, it's so cool about him is like you again, like he established the bad guy that you root for. He's a monster. It's a train wreck that you can't look away from. He like grows and changes and does all this crazy shit, and his character's actually like built off of like a psychological profile of a sociopath and a narcissist. So it's almost like a psychological case study throughout the entire show. It's very, very well done. It's one of my favorite shows ever for sure. But I mean, how are you not going to put fucking Tony Soprano on Mount Rushmore? You know what I mean? Like, he's got to be there.
You know what I've seen of that movie or of that show? The only thing I've seen of that show is the last 2 minutes of the final episode, just because I saw all the hype about like what really happened at the end. That's literally all I've seen of it. I haven't watched a single episode up to then.
It's maybe one of the few shows that very much like The Wire I can put on as background noise. Like, I've seen it enough times and I'm familiar with it enough. I.e., I've watched these series like 2 or 3 times just because I thought they were so good. So yeah, I can have that on in the background. I know what's going on just hearing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, cool pick. That's a good pick. I like that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna actually. You know what? I have switched my final spot, but on the note of watching something just in the background and maybe getting caught up on something that you haven't watched in a few years. My next character so my third spot goes to Jack Bauer from the show 24, played by Kiefer Sutherland. I watched all of them, when they were first on TV. I watched them all when they were on DVD. I'm watching them all again now on Prime, and I'm still, like, I know exactly what's going to happen from episode to episode, but I'm still so excited. And he's such a cool character. He's Canadian too, so I got to get some Canadian content on my Mount Rushmore. And I just think he plays that character very well, of kind of like Picard. He's going to get out of it. You know that even though he's being tortured at that particular moment, he's going to get out of it, but how is he going to do it? And how many more nuclear bombs can go off in Los Angeles in this show? Like, it's cool. I like it. That's my geek out show.
Can I add 2 real quick things on that show? First of all, one is Kiefer Sutherland. Have you guys seen Kiefer tackle the Christmas tree yet?
Oh,
no. Have you ever seen it?
It's the best video.
Chris, can you pull it up? Is it possible? Chris,
for sure, you can get that on YouTube.
I don't know if you. I'm sorry to sidetrack you, man.
So
are you able to pull that up, Chris? Have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay, it's great.
Oh man,
it's absolutely great. So while Chris is doing that really quick, like, I watched the first season of 24. I love the concept. The only thing that pissed me off about the show is, like, I've been to LA once, And I'm not buying the fact that Jack's making it across town in 20 fucking minutes. I'm sorry.
I've heard.
My suspension of
It's not great.
disbelief. Yeah, but no, I thought the show
He
was
gets a
kind of
police
neat.
escort though.
I watched the first season, like I was riveted by it, but I never kept up with it
Yeah.
after that. So it kept on being good, Mark?
Yeah, well, you know what's funny for me is that I watched it because my when my wife and I were dating, she bought me season 2 and season 3 on DVD. So we would watch, and it would be like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I have to work at 10, but I have to watch one more episode. Like it was one of those. I was binging before binging was a thing, and then so I watched 2 and 3, and then I went back and watched season 1, and then kind of made my way through. So it was I don't know. He's just I love this.
So I managed to find it. Shout out to whoever Teovania happens to be. 405 subscribers, deserves more
Here we go.
in the world. A great service.
Just off his face.
so
Sorry,
drunk.
we're watching the video. Maybe we can post that up with when we put the podcast up.
man.
But yeah,
That's as
I want you
literal
Kiefer
of a video.
Sutherland.
Like I didn't know what that was going to be, but it's just Kiefer Sutherland jumping into a Christmas tree. You
Yeah, but
kinda
I forgot.
nailed that right on the
Oh.
nose.
The
I
audio,
forget
he
how
says
the
something
audio-
like, "No, you haven't seen anything. Like you haven't seen anything yet," and then he just fucking jumps into the tree.
Yeah, his buddy calls him a pirate. His buddy calls him a pirate. You're a pirate, man. And I think he says, "Now I've seen everything," or something to that effect, and tackles the Christmas tree. It's friggin' brilliant.
Oh man.
Sorry to
Oh,
throw
Kiefer.
things off.
No,
Is it my turn?
Kiefer's fantastic. It is.
Is it my okay? So I'm putting this one up because so far I've had a bigot and a sociopathic murderer. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel
Sounds
the
about
need.
right.
I feel the need to balance things out a little bit. And again, this is a show that I watched growing up, and even so very much like All in the Family, this show and this role. Maybe it's because it's the 70s, right? And maybe it's because my parents are young and my grandparents are relatively young, and I'm being told that these are cultural tour de force type shows because of some roles that what are you expecting me to say? Is it Fred
I
Flintstone?
have a feel-
Not Fred
No,
Flintstone.
I have a
Definitely
feeling I
Bill
know who it is. I have
Okay,
a
who
feeling
is
I think
it?
I know who it is. I
Who
think you're going
is
to say
it?
George. I think you're going to say George Jefferson.
Damn.
No.
Are you going to say
Oh, not
Cliff,
George Jefferson? Oh, I thought you were going to say
No.
George Jefferson. Oh,
Cliff
he's-
Huxtable?
Not Cliff Huxtable. No.
He's tough to
I'm
put on
going-
that mountain.
My third character going up is it's Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh,
that's
nice.
that's definitely not George Jefferson.
Right? It's Mary
the
Tyler
opposite.
Moore. So
Yeah.
again, this is me
Cool.
dating myself, but it's the mid 70s, and I have a young single mom, and here's Mary Tyler Moore. And I've gone back and watched that show a bunch of times, and Mary Tyler Moore, the actress and the character, are both great. It is a really good show, but that's more
Nice.
that's probably the most sentimental of my picks. But I got to throw Mary Tyler Moore in that.
I like it. I actually had she's not on my list, but Betty White as an honorable mention, who obviously was on that show and quite a few
Sue
other
Ann
ones.
Niven.
But yeah, but she was she made her appearance on that, so she's been on a million things. But.
Nice.
All right, Chris, number 3.
Okay, well, I think so that I think I would again. It's another one I feel like has to be on there, and I'd be doing a disservice to all of the Black Sheep Radio listeners, especially the ones, the Netflix generation that grew up watching these shows over and over and over again. And it's Michael Scott from The Office. I don't know how familiar you guys are with The Office.
Yeah.
Michael Scott
Watched all of
is The Office is it's like the Beatles of sitcoms. It is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. People talk about how one of the big conversations surrounding this show is how the British version is better. That's what the hipsters always say. They always say, "Oh, I prefer the first season, the one with Ricky Gervais." But anybody that's ever seen Steve Carell as Michael Scott, it's just
He's brilliant.
He's from the opening scene. He is Michael Scott, and it's like this goofy, really inappropriate, super lovable at the same time, and selfish and childish, and and just ultra memorable. There's never been a person on TV since that will ever come close to him, and it'd be impossible to even try to replicate it. Like he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore without question.
I'll be watching the show while Mark's catching up on The Sopranos.
Yeah, and The Wire. I got a lot of
you got a bunch to go.
Yeah, shout out to Dwight Schrute as well from The Office.
Yeah,
who is again, he's that cream in the coffee of a great adds to a great character. So
yeah.
So Mark, who before we started recording confessed that he had 6, has probably been spending time now going through the remaining 3 of his 6, saying who makes Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. So
are you still wrestling with this?
No, I have my pick. Honorable mention to Jackie Harris, played by Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne. She plays Roseanne's sister Jackie, and she's brilliant. Like it's like
that's a good one, man.
There's like there's a 6-season pocket of shows where she is really, really good. Also, shout out to Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine for just some of the best one-liners in television. Like the stuff that he says about like flautists, and when he calls the guy Bill Bo Baggins, I fucking like you.
I love that show.
Oh,
I love that show.
It's funny.
It's a masterpiece.
So those are my honorable
really
mentions. But my last pick, and again, we're talking about longevity. We're talking about just being on seemingly every great show that comes out, from Married with Children to Futurama to Sons of Anarchy. My last spot is going to Katie Segal. So she's played. I'll put the Peg Bundy head will be on my my Mount Rushmore. So Katie Segal is my final
Bundy
actress. So Peg Bundy, I guess. Of all her characters, and she's been in some good ones. She's actually in the new Roseanne or the Connors now. Like she plays essentially the new Roseanne. So yeah, she's just been around forever, and big fan of all of her roles. But we'll go with Peg Bundy.
Nice.
Anybody know? I'm gonna have to Google this right now. How many visitors go to Mount Rushmore every year?
That's a good question.
Like, okay, take a guess. How many people, like in a of course, average. Okay, so
2 million people.
You know what I'm
2
saying?
2 million people go visit it. Yeah, 2 million people visit that every year. I'll say that's my guess. 2 million.
Okay, okay. That's in 2020. That's no good. Okay, so yeah, a rolling average, 2 million.
I say close. 2 million people go check that out. It's in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? It's 2.5 million people go see that.
South Dakota, it is. It's in the middle of I think it's called the Black Mountains in South Dakota. It is literally in the middle of nowhere. 2.5 million people make a pilgrimage to Mount Rushmore every year. So with that in mind, I've often wondered, like, when people rolling by Mount Rushmore, like Trump wanted to put himself on the fucking mountain. Mm-hmm. You remember that? Right, so I wonder how many people visited that place, right, and thought, no, that was a real dick of a fucking president. Like, they didn't approve. Now we're too far removed from those presidents, or maybe you do have a genuine to this day hate on for Thomas Jefferson, and you just find that mountain an affront. So with that in mind, I'm going to take that approach, that there has to be one controversial, almost maddening addition to TV's Mount Rushmore. So I'm going to go back to my teenage years, and my fourth entry on the Mount Rushmore of television characters is Boss Hogg.
I love it.
From Sorrel Brooke, ladies and gentlemen, who, if you go back and watch your 70s TV on CHCH on weekday mornings, you'll see him pop up in a whole bunch of shows, man. He was on, like, Hawaii Five-0. He was on Mary Tyler Moore. He was on All in the Family. He was all over the place. And you watch those old shows and go, hey, man, that's fucking Boss Hogg is in Archie Bunker's living room. It's kind of freaky. But, I mean, Sorrel's true genius was in Boss Hogg. I was going to put Roscoe P. Coltrane, but I'm going to go Boss Hogg of the Dukes of Hazzard for
Not Cooter.
fourth face. Not Cooter. Not Enos. Certainly not them Duke boys.
I had a Dukes of Hazzard big wheel when I was a kid, and I rode the shit out of that thing. I loved the Dukes of Hazzard when I was a kid. I always wanted a car that I could slide across the hood.
Like, honestly, if I had a young son right now and he had one of those plastic toy cars, I would want to get Boss Hogg's convertible caddy with the bullhorns on the hood. That's pimping. That's pimping is what that is. So there you go.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I'm just assuming it's a good pick, but I have no idea who that is. If you know who that is.
Chris, I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing, man.
Yeah, buddy. That and Captain Kangaroo, that was my childhood.
So I, again, yada, 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 struggled finding the fourth one to fill the spot, blah, blah, blah. Honorable mention for me goes to the character that Ellen played on her first sitcom.
She was great.
She was fantastic. She was fantastic. The show kind of did her dirty because she came out as gay on the show, and it was at a time when people just didn't really do that at the time, and then they lost the show. But I thought it was a great show. It was one of the funniest shows as a kid. If we're talking about stuff like that, was like a mature-ish show that I was watching as a kid that I really loved. It was really cool. Yeah. But I am going to go with a Canadian entry, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot for a Canadian TV show to. Yeah. To hit the mainstream. There's a lot. It's happening more and more now. You got Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Schitt's Creek, but it's phenomenal. Won a bunch of awards. For me, it's got to be Trailer Park Boys. I think it's one of the greatest shows to ever come out of this country. It's rough. It's unique. The characters are unbelievable. You can pick, again, like I was saying, man, try picking one of those characters to put on there.
I'm dying to know which one. Which one?
For me, I'm going to go with Jim Leahy. And I think...
no way!
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jim Leahy. A lot of people don't know this, but he is the Licker. He's played by John Dunsworth, who actually was I really love John Dunsworth's story. The guy's a lifelong Canadian B-roll actor. He's spent his whole career dedicated to the craft, being he did theater. He played a Shakespearean actor. Like, he's an unbelievable actor. And of all the classy roles that he plays, the one that ends up making him famous is where he's running around shitting his pants and driving drunk all the time. It's one of the greatest characters I think ever. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, but like only in a way that Nova Scotia can do, where it's like the liquor just transforms him into this monster. Actually, sometimes, depending on the season, the liquor makes him smarter and makes him more powerful and makes him more devious. He's fueled by, and he calls it the liquor. Like, he doesn't call it anything. He refers to it as like a being, as opposed to just like a beverage. It's just one of the best characters ever.
If you were in this room right now, I would hug you. That's such a fucking great pick. I am ashamed of my. What? Oh,
not even one episode.
Go with the liquor.
I've never seen even 5 minutes of an episode.
Go with the liquor, bud.
The shit box.
Nobody has ever played a better drunk on television than John Dunsworth. Like, honest to God, he was friggin' brilliant. And Chris, check it out sometime. There's this. It's on YouTube. It's just a quick short film of building a seawall in Prince Edward Island. Like, the guy was completely not.
Oh yeah, he was
Jim Leahy, but the characters.
He never drank.
That's a great pick. It's a great pick.
He never drank. It's insane when you watch it. He's like he nails it somehow. Oh, yep. Unbelievable! I could watch that guy fall down the stairs for hours.
Oh yeah. No, say, Marc, you got to check it. Just even again, YouTube. Just put best Jim Leahy, and you'll get an appreciation for the subtle nuances of the character. It's friggin' great. It's a good pick.
Okay, so
Okay.
we also got a lot of action on our Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna put this up here. So for the radio listeners, we'll just kind of go through describing what some of the people.
Yeah,
what
who are
of
some of the people that
saying
our
here.
friend mentioned here?
So Teresa Foreign says Lucy Ricardo, Mary Richards, Fraser Crane, and
Mary
Charles
Richards.
Ingalls. It's what's really funny about this is how, not to date anybody, but you know what I mean. It's a very it's a clustered group. It's a lot of TV. It's like it's so much, what you grew up watching has to do with it, right? Ron
Dan
Swanston, Dan
Connor's a
Connor,
great pick.
Dan Connor's a good one.
Cher.
It's funny. He actually he mentions a certain scene with Dan Connor, and I think that that's an entirely other thing, like greatest scenes in TV history. Because I threw up the video today on our page of the one with Will Smith where he has that fight with his real dad. Still makes me fucking cry to this day.
I like the yeah.
Dan Connor had a really good one with like abuse. It was an abuse scene, and it was really cool. So.
I like this Ralph Cramden I saw in there. There's a Jack Bauer getting a little bit of love.
Yeah.
George
Peter
Jefferson, Peter Griffin,
Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers, I like that.
No, there's a bunch there. There's some love for Tony Soprano right there, Chris. Nice.
Yeah, Julie
Yeah.
Louis Dreyfus is another one that I don't know. Again, like you run into these.
Yeah.
You get an opportunity to like see these shows in Veep. It's one of those shows.
I've never seen it. Is it good?
It's oh my god, it's unbelievable.
I
Like,
started. Yeah, I've caught a few episodes of that. That looks really good. I might immerse myself further into that one. For sure.
yeah, it's a great show. Right on, guys. That was fun.
So, I have not watched a hockey game yet this year. Switching gears from movies to sports.
Your team is doing quite well, by the way.
No, they're
As a Bruins
not. They're
fan,
shit in the bed. I mean, I'm following the scores and everything else. Guys, I got to tell you something. Like, it's the television experience of hockey with no fans. I can do it with football because, and I was thinking about this before, like I was having dinner like before we got started. Like, what is it about this that I'm not digging? And this happened in the playoff bubble too. And hockey was back, and everybody. And I tuned in for a few games, and I just went, no. So it's definitely something like with football, the fans are more of a background thing. I think it's the intimacy of a hockey game, right? Like the crowd is in much tighter, the game is in much tighter, and it's something about that doesn't translate to TV. So I have not been watching games. It's not to say that I haven't been following the scores and the standings. I'm just not enjoying watching it. I've yet to watch one. So the reason I bring that up, though, is I saw this thing because I was looking at hockey, right? Seeing scores and Bruins and shit in the bed right now, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, on this, it was in 1981, and it's just, I fell down the YouTube, Google, internet wormhole and came across this thing. This is a game in 1981 between the Bruins and the North Stars. Now, I watched this on YouTube. This game set a record for the most penalty minutes ever accumulated in a game between two teams.
Wow.
So, does anyone have a guess at how many penalty minutes were racked up? First of all, so I'm going to give you an idea. The clip of the actual brawl lasts 17 minutes and 29 seconds.
Whoa.
This is 17 minutes and 29 seconds of live, don't look it up, of live hockey. This is on TV, 17 minutes, 29 seconds. And this will give you a little bit of an idea of today's NHL versus, and I am not at all promoting fighting in hockey. I'm just saying, this is a different, so take a guess. February 1981, Bruins, Minnesota North Stars, with players the likes of like Steve Casper and Keith Crowder and Bobby Smith. This is some old school shit. So how many penalty minutes do you think between the two teams?
So I just did that. I grabbed my phone to grab a calculator. So I'm going to go with 450 penalty minutes,
Chris.
which is 15 times 15 penalties per team. 15 times 15 minute penalties per team.
So I'm gonna go over 451. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna go. I went initially. I was thinking like over 5, just because you'd assume that there's some sort of just because you'd assume there's a lot of penalties that happen before the brawl, right? Like there's got to be penalties leading up to that. So I'm going to say 5:30.
Well, you're both over.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 400 still keep this in mind. 406 penalty minutes in a hockey game.
That's what the Bob Proberts of the world used to get in a season.
Buddy, I'm watching this, and there's one of the linesmen was what was his name? Gord Brossiker. And one of the players for the North Stars actually grabs Brossiker by the scruff of the friggin' jersey and gives him it's over the top.
Is it just me? Is it just me? Or is it always the fucking Bruins? Wasn't it the Bruins that were in the crowd with the guy hitting him with his shoe and
yes,
Mike Milbury when Mike Milbury took the guy's shoe off and beat him with it?
They were... Okay, so hockey's changed a lot, right?
Yeah, where are those days?
Do you want to know the most fascinating part of this? Do you want to know when the brawl started? Take a guess.
Oh, like time in the game?
When the brawl started. 406 penalty minutes. Take a guess. How far into the game before the brawl started? Take a guess.
So I'm gonna say either 1 second or there was 1 second left in the game. Either 1 second in or 1 second left.
All right, Chris.
Man,
I just picture the game starts and they go.
They finished the game, right? Like obviously they completed the game.
They finished the game.
Man, it's got to be in the third period at some point because you just run out of players if you keep kicking everybody out. I would. Say,
oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
I would say I don't know, 5 minutes left.
Overtime.
The time on the score sheet, the time of the first penalty assessed in this tsunami of penalties in this brawl. 406 minutes, gentlemen. Now, I don't know how many of those were from this brawl, but I have got to guess the majority of them were. What else are you going to do after a brawl of this magnitude? The time on the score sheet, 1953 of the first period. Wow. 7 seconds into the game.
Oh,
7 seconds into the game.
That's like fighting with your wife when you're pulling out of the driveway to go on a vacation.
Before you even get inside.
Yeah. Here we fucking go. This is it for the rest of the trip.
17 minutes and 29 seconds. Man. So anyway, I just, and this happened just before we got on. I'm like, I got to share this with the guys. Finally, I have something about hockey. And, oh, man.
I absolutely love hockey. I'm surprised you haven't been watching it. There's actually been a lot more fighting this year than normal.
Yeah.
Has there? Yeah.
Yeah, at least with the Leafs, I know for sure because they have a couple tougher guys on there. And I love it. I don't really I get that fucking Damian Cox is all about saying that fighting has no place in the league, but it's entertaining to me. You know what I mean? It's
that's like a whole other show.
I could
try and get somebody
I could do without fighting. It doesn't have to be fighting, but when you see those old videos from back in the day, you're like, holy shit! Or even Billy Smith or Ron Hextall clearing the front of the net with their stick, tomahawk.
Oh, right to the back of the knees, man.
Oh
just
my god!
Hard, friggin' craziness. Absolute mayhem. Anyway. So you're gonna talk about this, are you?
Yeah, you knew right away.
Just trying to extend the hockey conversation, but we've eventually come to Marc's ass.
Oh, you knew it was going to go there eventually. Colonoscopy. I figure this is a good spot to talk about it. I got all guys here. Benny, you're at the age where you probably should have had one by now. Have you had to experience that?
So I've done my regular, the prostate check and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And now it's a blood test. So, but no, I've never. I think a colonoscopy. So this
It's
is
a blood
Wait a
test
minute.
for the
Wait, whoa,
prostate?
whoa, 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 whoa. Before we go any further, is this like a
Yeah.
voluntary thing?
No,
Are
I'm
you
not
just going
like,
in to check the plumbing for the sake of it, or is this recommended?
Yeah,
You saw
no.
that in
The
Kijiji.
I don't know. Apparently, I'm at the age
Starting
where-
with Gigi.
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, so this is a recommended
I
procedure.
figured the price was good. And yeah. So it's
Sorry, it's the line of the
Swahili for
day.
community.
You just hit it out of the park, man. So should we
yeah, so-
okay? So getting back to my original question, should we be worried? Is this just
No,
you know
I'm
you've been having
I guess that's why they go check.
okay
No, I don't know. I guess that's why they go. They feel a need to go in there and check, and the doctor seems pretty cool about it. I asked my mom about it because I went to go see her this weekend, and she's a nurse, and she's like, "Yeah, they don't put you to sleep or anything, but they basically give you something, so you kind of just look back and you're like, whatever." Even though there's a garden hose up your ass, I was like, "Oh." So yeah, I'm excited.
Glass of wine.
Hey, did you get a
Glass of wine,
Nice bread.
a nice Cabernet.
yeah some hard
A
cheese
sipping
maybe?
brandy.
I can't take. I'm sorry, boys. We're trying to have a
Oh, I
serious
don't know if-
conversation here, and I'm
I don't
just-
know. If
charcuterie.
I don't know if cheese is the answer, but yeah, that's what they gave. That's what I had to go pick up
Okay.
today. Was my prescription for making it, I guess, so that the camera has room to work. Which when I go pick it up today, usually when you get a prescription, the pharmacist will come over and explain to you how to use it.
Yeah.
This isn't one of those.
This is okay.
It's pretty fucking clear what needs to happen.
What's gonna happen?
I take my pills tomorrow, and that should clear me out.
Have you
So,
gotten
pretty
like a
excited.
medical? Has anyone from the medical profession described the procedure to you? And if so, how?
Other than the doctor called, and he, I don't know, he's like, yeah, we make you comfortable, and I mean, it's funny because during the conversation, everything becomes innuendo at that point. He's like, you're kind of, you're in and you're out in 2 hours, and I'm like, wow.
Have you been able to seek out? Have you sought the advice of somebody who has done the procedure?
I actually mentioned it to my therapist yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, is this your first one?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't realize this was like a common thing for people. She's like, "Oh, well, my husband's had a couple, so she's like, you'll get over it." I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
Again, my wife's given birth, so I can't bitch about any
No.
sort of medical procedure. Like she almost had her gallbladder burst, and she's given birth
Absolutely.
twice. So this is just,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? What normally goes out, something's going in, and
Yeah.
Right.
and he's like, I've done this. I mean, it's not like I'm going to like the the colostomy or colonoscopy college. Like this is a guy that's done it before, so it's not like going to dental school to save some money.
Please tell me that colostomy was a slip of the tongue.
That one,
Okay.
that's what I don't want.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my
So,
excitement.
are you awake for this, by the way?
Yeah. They just give you something.
Are you awake for colonoscopies? I've never asked anyone.
Yeah. They just kind of gas you so that you don't really give a shit.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So
Apparently-
it's like dental.
Apparently
Like
you're high as shit. Yeah, apparently you get high as
Okay.
hell. So it's on the Ontario government. I get to get fucking wasted on Thursday afternoon. So
you would have to think, like if it were the case with me, you would definitely make the procedure a lot quicker if you were to gas me.
I would rather.
I think that goes
be
for all of
completely
us.
asleep. Yeah,
Sure.
I'd rather be completely. asleep.
Yeah.
But if they can give me something where it's just like, can you feel that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess.
If you can take the what shall we call this? If you can take the fist factor out of it, in other words, if you can keep that part of me from clenching like a fist
Oh, I see.
at the moment, you see what I'm saying?
I went a
That's what the
different
gas
direction
is.
when you said the fist factor.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like the camera was the size of a fist, which it is not.
No.
Like I just want to be
No.
clear. It's not the Hubble fucking telescope. Like it's
No,
just
I'm saying I'd clench like one. I would
that's for
I'd cinch up a little bit, like
I'm
a knot
clenching right
in an
now
oak,
talking about it.
like a knot in a mighty oak.
You can tell my age by it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing one at home, take your garden hose out to the knot in the oak tree, and try and get her into the trunk, because that, unless ungassed, you're going to run into a very similar scenario. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna fight you.
Oh, man.
It's gonna fight you.
I have so many questions when you're done. Like, do they count it down? Do they give you a 3, 2, 1? Do they give you a 3, 2, 1 or no?
Here's the question. And that begs an interesting question.
Yeah.
Do you want it? Do you want the 3, 2, 1?
Right.
Or do you want just like random conversation and then he's like, hey, by the way, I'm done. Because your ass is so numb or whatever that you didn't even notice. Or do you want him to say like, in 3, 2, 1?
No,
Oh, there we go.
I don't.
It's in there.
I don't want to count. Pop goes the
Weasel.
I don't want to count down because I get the feeling if I got the countdown, it would be accompanied by that sound effect of the seconds counting down on 24. With the beating drums. It would be like like the countdown on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like just
if it were me, I just want as little talking as possible. Like let's never.
See, you and I are different because, and I'll say, like when I went and got my vasectomy a couple years ago, you're like they freeze the air wide awake, and I said to the guy, I'm like, well, then you have to tell me everything that you're doing. Like I can't just sit here like look.
Yeah. Has Mark frozen on us?
I don't know. I think so.
It would appear that with the goofiest face in the world, too. Again, if you're listening to the radio portion or a radio version of Black Sheep Radio, check out the video portion just for this very moment. Because can you screenshot that? Like that is
I'm gonna definitely take a picture because he's definitely in goof mode.
That's a thing of genius right there. That's our new cover.
For sure.
That is our new cover right there.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. Go ahead. When he gets back, I'm sure he'll have more to say about the procedure. But I would not want the countdown. That's for damn sure. I would think that I've often wondered, like, for people who do any sort of invasive procedure, Chris, like your proctologists, your gynecologists, your oral surgeons, and so on and so forth. I wonder if they all have a similar conversation course. Like, is that part of the learning curriculum? Is actually how to make small talk with patients you're doing uncomfortable things to? It's a very interesting question, but I don't know. I would say no, only because I've had a lot of doctors that are just really bad at that stuff. They have no personality. They come in, they don't understand how to deliver information. I mean, you think that they would practice it given how important delivering important information is to their job. That's a lot of their job. You know what I mean? And it seems like some of these people are kind of flying by the seat of their pants sometimes, but
Okay,
yeah, you never
but
know.
you'd have to think, too, there's got to be a little bit of improv involved, too, because you're always going to have that joker who's going to come in and, make some really off-color or weird remark, to be the icebreaker. And,
Sure.
the proctologist has probably heard them all 1,000 times, but, go gentle, are you going to spoon me, that kind of, like, there's always going to be some guy who's going to bust balls and make a joke, so... Is there a training that's involved with people who do invasive procedures on how to handle matters as such?
You don't want the guy to have a routine, that's for sure. Like if he's working out material on you, like you're like, oh, okay, buddy, like let's just
yeah.
Mark's
back.
Mark's back with us. What's your go-to? What's your fallback topic of conversation during the procedure? Should there be conversation? I mean. Should you feel the need to, like, how about them Jays sort of thing? What's going to be
who's
your
on his
go-to
Mount?
topic
Who's
of
on his
conversation?
Mount Rushmore? Yeah, who's on his Mount Rushmore of TV? That's not. Hey, have you heard the podcast? Like, I'll use it as an opportunity to sell the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a great marketing strategy. Sure, I try and
Yeah.
sell my product with a hose up my ass.
So did I just out of
It's like
curiosity?
a more extreme version of an elevator pitch. It's like
That's probably what was missing in my brief my own car sales career. I should have been. Sorry.
It's when did I cut out there for a bit?
Yeah,
you
for sure.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did.
I
Quick
took a
comment.
screenshot.
You'll see the look on your face when you froze on our computer screens. You're gonna
great.
love it.
Yeah, it's
Was it when I
fantastic.
started talking about my vasectomy, or was it after that?
No, we missed the vasectomy part.
Oh, then I just talked to myself about that. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
that'll be on the outtakes.
How far did you get into your vasectomy story before you realized that you weren't talking to us anymore?
I don't know. A minute.
Were there tears?
No, there was laughs though, but just me.
Yeah.
And then I said another joke that I thought for sure was going to get you guys to laugh, and you didn't fucking even move. You just sit there and fucking stone. And I realized that you were frozen.
All right, I got you. See, there was no mistaking that you, sir, were frozen. There was no mistaking you were frozen.
Let's see if I can.
See if you can share the picture with him because she's
Oh,
a doozy.
man.
It's going to be your new profile pic. I can almost
I
guarantee
hope
it.
so.
Yeah.
I hope so. If we
So-
could have a video intro like our audio intro, that picture could be mine.
Here you go, Mark.
Oh,
You're frozen.
that's a you know what I look like? I look
Isn't
like
that a
fucking
beaut?
Jack Nicholson when he pulls himself out of the fucking poison from Batman, and he's just turned into the Joker.
I think that's the face you're probably going to make on Thursday.
Yeah, that's my colonoscopy face right there. Can you send me that so I can
man.
put that on my Google review of the colonoscopy doctor?
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well,
Can
if you guys
you,
are up for a Facebook Live, it's 2:40 on Thursdays.
Oh. You know, I almost would. I almost just as long as it's. I just want to see your eyes. That's it. That's all I want to see.
My wide eyes.
Your
My
wide
pie
eyes.
Wow, your pupils are huge.
At
Yeah.
what
yeah.
point in the film does Mark go into the 1,000-yard stare? Where he's just looking off in the distance, like a kid pissing in the water at the beach. He's trying not to make eye contact with anything. He doesn't know where to look. Just
If you've ever heard, I don't know if you've ever heard it, but on Stern they do the prostate karaoke, where the guys are getting their prostates checked and they're singing like fucking Unchained Melody and shit like that.
wow, that's brilliant,
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
dudes. I gotta check out, but like before we go, Chris, I gotta know. Like, have you made a friend at your coffee shop yet?
Yeah.
Have you made a friend
Go
yet?
on.
So it's been 2 weeks since we've got a coffee upstate. I've been there multiple times since. Nothing, no friends, no recognition. It's no recognition at all. I'm like Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense, just aimlessly wandering around. Marie's a little kid, I guess, because she can see me, but nobody else can. But the last time I was there, I'm like, you know what? It was a nice day out, so I'm like, I'm just gonna sit outside on this bench here. There's like a little bench, they have a little patio. I'm like, Bree, do you want to go in, like, grab the coffees for us or whatever? And
If you're just joining us for the first time, really quickly, like, just like, giving a little background on Omar Little, that we have to give the background on the coffee shop scenario. So, Chris, this is a very friendly coffee shop. People make small talk with all kinds of exchanges behind the counter and with customers, but not with
Recognition,
Chris.
like
Not with
customer
Chris.
recognition.
Nothing.
it would be like if you watch. We were talking about Cheers earlier. It'd be like if you were watching Cheers and somebody walked into the bar and nobody said a word.
Right.
And I just sat down, and he just sat there and just nothing. And then everybody else is just like, "Hey, how's it going?" Whatever. That's my lunch experience every time I go to this coffee shop. So this last time that I went in there, I actually didn't go in. I got Bree to go in to order the coffees, and
Oh yeah.
Were you afraid of having your feelings hurt, or
no, I just it was a nice day out. It was beautiful out.
What? Confrontation? You want to?
I'm gonna soak up a little bit of the sun.
Avoiding
You know what I mean? You go in here.
Yeah.
She goes in. She gets the coffee. She comes out, and we're walking back, and we're just like kind of in silence. And I'm like, "All right, I have to ask. Like, did they recognize you when you went in there?" And she said, "Yes, they did." And I'm the one that goes in most of the time. It's crazy.
So it's a personal slight.
It's you.
It's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing.
so far we've figured out that Chris does not tip, nor has he ever. And last time I believe it was Chris who raised the issue of the sloppy service as well. It was an overfilled coffee.
Overfilled. Then she gave me no lid. Did
you give her a dirty look in that exchange?
No dirty looks. I'm not good at dirty looks. I don't pull dirty looks off. No, I'm not a big dirty look guy, unfortunately.
No.
No, I don't know why, but
Marc strikes me as a good dirty looker.
Sticking to the granola. Oh yeah, I can, especially with the mask.
Right.
I'll fucking cut you down. I'll cut you down like Superman with his laser eyes.
Like so many knotted oaks.
All right, gentlemen, I have no idea what's happening with this iPad, so I was gonna roll the music, and then it's not
good,
working.
man.
So it's just been a technical disaster for the most part, but thanks for listening to the Black Sheep Radio podcast. Chris Brown, Marc Lefebvre, Ben McBee,
Fully
Black Sheep Radio on Facebook, podcast, Apple Podcast.
Wish me luck. Wish me luck.
Good luck to your ass.
Good luck, man. See you guys.